Sleep hygiene. If you are sleep deprived, Richie refers not just the amount of sleep you have gotten over the past few days, but also to the quality of that sleep. You will tend to notice the post longitude more, and you will notice it more as you age. Sleep hygiene involves avoiding bright lights before bed and sleeping in a completely dark room. Get black out curtain if you need to, and going to bed and waking at the same time every day. Now that we know about these circadian rhythms, this makes sense. Your biological clock expects you to go to sleep at a certain point within the 24 hours cycle. It adjusts your core body temperature, slows digestion, releases melatonin, reprocesses dopamine, and oversees dozens of other regulations. If you go to sleep earlier or later than usual, these cycles are a little out of sync with the fact that you're sleeping. Sleep quality is impaired. Diet is important too. Eating within 2,000 of bedtime can decouple the central circadian rhythms from those in the liver, stomach, and intestine. What you eat can also be a factor. Alcohol is known to disturb sleep cycles and circadian rhythms, and high-fat diets tend to advance the clock. A practical implication of this is that if you need to stay up late, eat fatty foods like those pictured virtually every late night TV commercial. Light therapy and melatonin treatments are the most effective means in resetting the circadian clock, especially in the aged. They are also effective in people with Alzheimer's-related or mild cognitive impairment. It's possible that these treatments may also prevent or delay onset of Alzheimer's disease itself. Melatonin treatment, cognitive performance improved, and agitated behavior was reduced. You may have heard of a season-affective disorder, which causes mood and concentration disturbances triggered by the shorter, greater days of the winter. Melatonin levels tend to rise about 14 hours after waking. If you get 8 hours of sleep every night and wake at 6 a.m., that means your melatonin levels will naturally rise around 8 p.m. and you will start to get sleepy and go to bed 2 hours after that around 10 p.m. If you take about an hour of melatonin pill to be absorbed into your bloodstream, that means taking one about 3 hours before bedtime. The next most effective treatment after light therapy and melatonin is moderate late afternoon or early evening exercise, like going outside for a walk. The combination of all three is the best. Caffeine is one of the most widely consumed mind-altering substances in the world. For many people, it enhances wakefulness, alertness, and focus, and can assist in establishing or changing circadian rhythms, particularly when crossing time zones. At the beginning of the book, I introduced the concept of health span versus disease span, the amount of time you're able to avoid declining health and live a fully productive, self-sufficient time. There is a parallel concept called productivity span. The most obvious explanation for this is that there are individual differences among athletes, and the differences demands of various sports. Diet. Now my BS detector is kicking in. Writing best-selling books does not make you an authority, and in fact, tomatoes are good for you, especially when cooked, as is shown in solid peer-reviewed studies. The lycopene can contain decreased risk of prostate and breast cancer, heart disease, osteoporosis, and other chronic diseases. Now, my PS theater is going haywire. Performing surgeries, whether it's 1 or 10,000, doesn't give any scientific data on when people should eat. By the end of the ad, we learned that he's selling a line of supplements that he created. Every 10 years or so, it seems the scientists have a completely different view of the what we should and it shouldn't aim promote longevity and health. The meal-less diet, no-fat diet, no carbohydrate diets, the all-carb diet and paleo diet. First fat wasted in meat and sugar, then carbs which break down into sugars. You're forgiven to think you scientists don't know what they are talking about. The scientific problem is that people who eat different foods may have other differences as well that we are not keeping track of. Different tendencies to exercise or not, sleep duration, attitude toward the medicine, hydration, different daily stresses endured. Someone has just lost their job, another just had their first child, another is a heroin addict, another is a professional athlete, and so on and so forth. These go to a core theme of personal psychology and the individual differences versus generalization neuroscience allows. What you really want is to take people who are identical in every lifestyle metric and then tell them exactly what to eat, putting them one variable completely under experimental's control. We infer that smoking is bad, but it has not been shown in controlled experiments in humans, just rodents and monkeys. Similarly, we infer that saturated fats and sugars are bad, but we don't have a controlled experiments that prove it. So this is certain dietary research has been hobbled by the lack of controlled experiments and by the very real possibility that there are individual differences in the ways that people metabolize food and the nutrients, their glucose metabolism, the activity of lipoprotein lipase, an enzyme that promotes fat storage versus fat oxidation, and the genetic factors. What is clear is that there is no data yet to help clinicians measure patients in a food metabolic genotype to the optimally beneficial diet. The new field of nutrigenomics promises to fill this gap, but these gaps don't mean that we know nothing. The last 15 years of research have moved us close to the goal of understanding how diet affects in health, well-being, and longevity. Our digestive system today are the product of tens of thousands of years of hominid evolution. Our ancestors of Paleolithic age, about 15,000 years ago, subsisted by gathering plants and fishing and by hunting or scavenging wild animals. As a result, their diet is primarily lean meat, fish, fruits, vegetables, roots, eggs, and nuts. This is so-called the Paleolithic diet or paleo diet. This diet is based on the fact that we have not able to eat the high amounts of sugar, salt, and saturated animal fats in their typical American diet. Those are products of technology and industrial food production that our bodies, our genetics, have not yet caught up to. Although terms such as purify, detoxify, and energize may also impress us, they are generally used to cover a lack of scientific proof. There are only a few known toxins, for example lead, and these treatments do nothing to remove them. May also advise and consumers be aware of testimonials, anecdotes from individuals who have used a product and no substitute for evidence from scientific research. If the product's claims were backed up with hard evidence, the purveyor would say so, pointing you to peer-reviewed scientific studies. Just remember, the plot of any thought is not data. In other words, an anecdote is simply observation or a story that comes from uncontrolled conditions. True scientific data comes from a systematic attempt to isolate valuables in document conditions and observe trends in over a large number of cases. The diet group, but not the control group, also quit smoking, exercised more, and attended stress management counseling. The people in the control group were told to do none of those things. As a Scientific American reported, as a hardly surprising that quitting smoking, exercising, reducing stress, and dieting, when done together, improves in heart health. But the fact that half of participants were to make all of these lifestyle changes means that we cannot make any inferences about the effect of diet alone. Antioxidants. Yeah, when an atom molecule or ion has an unpaired electron, it is unstable and is called a free radical. Free radicals are produced all the time as your cells convert glucose to energy. But damage to mitochondria, a subunit of cell found inside most of cells of your body, can also lead to increased production of free radicals. And so can consuming certain substances such as fried foods, alcohol, tobacco, smoke, pesticides, and air pollutants. Free radicals, because they're unstable, can cause damage to DNA and cell membranes by grabbing the electrons through a process called oxidation. Soon the whole thing has snowballed out of control. In the meantime, all of these molecules with free radicals can perform their cellular functions properly, and you get oxidative stress. Antioxidants often work by donating an electron to the free radical before it can damage other cell components. Once the electron of free radical is appeared, the free radical is stabilized and becomes non-toxic. Oxidative stress is believed to underlie a wide range of disease, including cancer, diabetes, neurological disorders such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease, and to shorten lifespan. It causes a high LDL levels and a low density lipoprotein that cause stroke and the accumulation of plaques. They can lead to heart disease. It even plays a role in development of wrinkles. It's been known since the 1960s that free radicals accelerate the aging process, and then the reduction of free radicals can delay aging. The big question is whether dietary antioxidants can mitigate the damage done by oxidation of free radicals. The matter is further confused by the fact that there is no universal agreement among scientists about which molecules are antioxidants and which aren't. Some of the well-known substances that are often mentioned as antioxidants retinol, vitamin A, beta-carotene, a precursor of retinol, ascorbic acid, vitamin C, vitamin E, flavonoids, and omega-3 fatty acids. Sometimes zinc can function as an antioxidant. The definition of antioxidants can be very broad because they can act either directly or indirectly, and any substances that can detoxify free radicals may be just called antioxidants. Selenium, for example, doesn't act directly but can deoxidize in a certain reactive oxygen species through indirect action. Tocopherol vitamin E, on the other hand, acts directly by donating a hydrogen atom at each part. It's where the mere fact that the food or supplement molecule can donate a hydrogen atom to the free radical means anything real living organism it will, and that is working like it would think it should. We don't know. Recall the discussion of glucosamine supplement in chapter 7 on pain. Taking courage pill might seem that it should help the courage breakdowns in your body, but the body doesn't work like that. The same principle applies to the substance in the blood we eat. Substances in the foods we eat, such as antioxidants and cholesterol, they don't necessarily have the effect that you might think. There is a moderate research evidence that eating antioxidants in food is beneficial. The problem is that there have not been enough rigorous studies of antioxidant foods to draw any definitive conclusions. One recent meta-analysis found that there were no randomized controlled trials. All studies were judged to be moderate and substantial risk of bias. There is even less evidence to support taking antioxidant supplements. For example, one study followed nearly 40,000 women for 10 years. Half were randomly and assigned to take a vitamin supplement, and half took a placebo. After 10 years, the vitamin E hadn't significantly reduced the risk of heart attack, stroke, or cancer. The results of another randomized controlled trials with a range of antioxidant supplements, including beta-carotene, vitamins A and C, and selenium, did not show reductions in cancer. For gastrointestinal cancer, the supplements actually increased in all-cause mortality. A meta-analysis reviewed the results of studies with more than 298,000 people and found no effect in antioxidant supplements in cardiovascular disease. Antioxidant supplementation might be interfering with the immune system or with the defense mechanisms responsible for the elimination of impaired cells. For some subsets of the population with a really poor diet or poor pregnant women, supplements may be helpful, but the scientific evidence is still wanting. Many supplement studies fail because they study only one supplement at a time, which doesn't mimic any like in actual food. Actual food can contain fiber, micronutrients, and beneficial gut bacteria that a supplement lack. And at least in some antioxidants, vitamin C and E, have been shown to block the health-promoting effect of physical exercise. Cholesterol is a basic substance that circulates in your blood and attaches to protein there. Your body needs cholesterol to build healthy cells, including brain cells, but high levels in certain forms of cholesterol can increase your risk of heart disease. When cholesterol combines with the proteins, the resulting molecule is called a lipoprotein. Low-density lipoprotein LDL, the bad cholesterol transports cholesterol particles throughout your body. It can build up in walls of your arteries, making them hard and narrow and causing arteriosclerosis. High-density lipoprotein HDL, the good cholesterol, picks up excess cholesterol and takes back to your liver, which then removes it from your body. Unhealthy eating habits and obesity can raise your bad cholesterol levels. Lack of physical activity can lower your good cholesterol levels. Smoking does both, especially in women, by damaging the walls of blood vessels and making them more likely to accumulate LDL deposits. LDL levels naturally rise with age, making healthy lifestyle habits increasingly important, especially after age 50. There is a genetic component as well. The rate at which bad cholesterol climbs and the ability to physical activity increase in good cholesterol are partly inherited. If adopting healthy lifestyle habits and physical activity improve the diet, doesn't optimize cholesterol levels. There are medications that can lower LDL, statins. For extreme cases, there is a procedure called lipoprotein apheresis they use in a filtering machine to remove LDLs from the blood. Food labels in the United States and many other countries list the cholesterol content of those foods, but there is no scientific consensus about whether eating cholesterol-rich food actually alters cholesterol levels in the blood. You don't need fats in your diet. They are a major source of energy and they're necessary for building a myelin sheath around neurons and for maintaining strong, healthy cells, but not all fats are created equal. The main types are saturated fats found in meats, eggs, and whole fat dairy products, monounsaturated fats found in olive and canola oil, polyunsaturated fats found in seeds, nuts, and fish and vegetable oils, and trans fats found in fried foods, microwave popcorn, and some commercially baked goods. No association between the consumption of saturated fats and heart disease. None. Now, this is not a controlled experiment. It may be that the people in the study who are saturated fat got more exercise. There may be general differences in the way the body metabolizes saturated fats. But the real culprits in the analysis was trans fats, the one found in fried foods, potato chips, and other junk food. Dietary high in soluble fibers are good because the fiber binds to the LDL cholesterol molecules in digestive system and drags them out of the body before you get into circulation. Some good sources of soluble fibers are oats, oatmeal, Trader Joe's oats, barley, and other whole grains, beans, including soybeans and soy milk. High fiber fruits, apples, strawberries, citrus, the pectin contain they can contain soluble fiber. Eggplants, okra, fatty fish, liquid vegetable oils, and nuts. Just 2 ounces of nuts a day can lower LDL by 5%. Diet high in omega-3 fatty acids is food found in fatty fish and seeds, especially chia flaxseed and hemp. Nuts, especially walnuts and olive and canola oil, also lower LDL and reducing the risk of heart disease by 7%. Insoluble fibers in wheat bran, vegetables, and whole grain are also healthy because they prevent constipation and diverticulosis. The emerging picture is in the dietary consumption of fats and even saturated ones is not the cause of heart disease, but rather inflammatory processes that cause cholesterol to build up arteries walls. And alpha linolenic acid, polyphenol, or omega fatty acids present in nuts and extra virgin olive oil, vegetables and oily fish, and rapidly attenuate inflammation and coronary thrombosis. Calorie restriction. Calorie restricted diet. When you have excessive food and nutrients and your physiological stress levels are low, your genes and cellular growth and reproduction. In contrast, under harsh conditions, genetic activity shifts towards cell maintenance and protection. A number of stresses mediate this reaction, and the calorie restriction is one of the most robust, working in many species, from apes to C. elegans, from mice to primates. For years, it was thought that calorie restriction merely slowed down an organism's metabolism and therefore slows down the rate at which cellular damage accumulates. It is now well accepted that calorie restriction triggers a change in metabolic response, in particular a downregulation of insulin, and insulin-like a growth factor. Slowing it might seem like an overwhelming challenge, as the decline is so pervasive. So it is noteworthy that when extended lifespan of laboratory animals will not have to combat individual and all problems of age, such as declining muscles, the wrinkled skin, and the mutant mitochondria. Instead, we just tweak a regulatory gene and limits the rest. In other words, animals have the latent potential to live much longer than they normally do. In mammals, insulin levels rise in response to glucose, and this raise may ultimately shorten lifespan. Insulin is necessary for normal metabolism. It helps glucose in your body enter cells in your muscle, fat, and liver, where it can be used for energy. If your insulin levels rise, hyperinsulinemia, and stay that way, a host of health problems can occur, including insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, obesity, immune system suppression, and cardiac arrhythmias. Calorie restriction, because of its interaction with the insulin signaling system, appears to be good for the brain. Why might be that? Neuroscience in a mark. Some of the neural benefits that are found with fasting also occur with vigorous exercise. The neurochemical changes are similar, but to stimulate the production of brain-derived neurotrophic growth factor. Fasting stimulates the production of ketones, an energy source of neurons. Fasting can increase the number of mitochondria in neurons, which helps them produce more energy. For the effectiveness of the using drug is preventative. There hadn't been enough longitudinal studies yet for us to know whether intermittent fasting or other forms of fasting could have long-lasting negative consequences beyond the initial benefits. When you do eat certain foods, shouldn't the study after study has been helpful. These include virgin olive oil, which is rich in monounsaturated fatty acids, the good fats. Consuming olive oil around 3 tablespoons a day is associated with relieving oxidative stress on cells and regulating cholesterol and anti-inflammatory activity. Cruciferous vegetables, including Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, and bok choy, have been shown to have protective effects against many forms of cancer and can even inhibit the progression of some cancers. They do this by initiating cellular defense mechanisms and modifying cancer-related genes. Another component of Mediterranean diet is in oily fish such as sardines and anchovies. These contain omega-3 fatty acids that are known to be essential in the development and the maintenance of the brain and the retinal tissue, as well as for myelination. Taking omega-3 supplements can make a little or no difference in the risk of cardiovascular events, coronary heart death, coronary heart disease events, stroke, and heart irregularities, and it may even increase the incidence of some cancers. Supplementing is no substitute. Don't overdo it. Moderate amount. Has been shown to lower blood pressure and thereby reducing coronary risk, but there is a complex issue. Alcohol consumption increases the risk of primary tumors at mouth, pharynx, larynx, esophagus, liver, breast, colon, and rectum. It also increases mortality in breast cancer survivors and possibly those with the cancers as well. It interferes with the sleep and sleep cycles, and we saw in chapter 8 with the circadian clocks, and it can be addictive. Resveratrol has antioxidant properties, and in animals reducing hypertension, heart failure, ischemic heart disease, and it improves in insulin sensitivity and reducing blood glucose levels, and the high-fat diet induced obesity. However, systematic reviews concluded that there is insufficient evidence that resveratrol supplements could prevent disease and extend life in humans. Many cognitive and physical benefits are claimed for a number of diets, including the DASH, MIND, and the Mediterranean diets, but there is little evidence to support them. The putative causes of cognitive decline and Alzheimer's are oxidative stress, inflammation in neural tissue, and vascular problems and cause weight and buildup of the harmful substances in the circulatory system. Healthy diets are the lower cholesterol and the inflammation are the logical approach. Lack the evidence, and the evidence came in counter to the logic advice. The problem is that the bodies and the brains are complicated. There are multiple interacting factors, and they're really only at the very beginning of being able to understand all the implications of even the simplest interventions.